I'm about to tell you something that might make you uncomfortable. The best thing you can do for your children financially is to tell them no. And I'm not talking about saying no to candy at the grocery store. I'm talking about saying no when they ask you to cosign a loan. No when they want you to guarantee their business debt. No when they pressure you to put your house up as collateral for their dreams. This sounds harsh, doesn't it? What kind of parent refuses to help their own child? But here's what nobody tells you. Every single day, parents lose their homes, their retirement savings, and their financial security because they couldn't say no to their children. And the tragic part? They're not helping their kids. They're destroying both their futures. Let me share a story that happens more often than you think. A father in his 60s co-signed a business loan for his son. The business failed within 2 years. The father lost his house. His retirement savings evaporated. He had to go back to work at an age when he should have been enjoying his golden years. The son? He declared bankruptcy and started over. But the father couldn't. He was too old to rebuild. This isn't an isolated incident. This is a pattern that repeats itself in families across the country every single week. And it all starts with one simple word that parents struggle to say. No. Why is it so hard for parents to refuse their children's financial requests? The answer is complex. We're hardwired to protect our children. From the moment they're born, our entire existence revolves around keeping them safe, fed, and happy. Saying no feels like abandonment. It feels like we're failing as parents. Society reinforces this guilt. We're told that good parents sacrifice everything for their children. We see movies where parents mortgage their homes to send kids to college, and we're supposed to admire that. We hear stories of parents working 3 jobs to give their children opportunities, and we celebrate them as heroes. But here's what those stories don't show you. They don't show you what happens 20 years later when those parents have nothing left. They don't show you the children who feel crushing guilt because their parents are struggling. They don't show you the resentment that builds when sacrifice becomes expectation. Let's talk about what happens when you guarantee your child's debt. You're not just putting your name on a piece of paper. You're putting your entire financial life on the line. Your credit score. Your savings. Your home. Your retirement. Everything you've worked for over decades can disappear because of one bad business decision or one economic downturn. And here's the part that really hurts. Your child can walk away from that debt through bankruptcy. You can't. Because you're the guarantor, you're stuck with the full burden. The bank doesn't care that it was your child's dream or your child's business. They only care that you signed on the dotted line. I've seen this scenario play out dozens of times. A mother guarantees her daughter's student loans because the daughter promises to pay them back. The daughter graduates, can't find a job in her field, and the payments become impossible. The mother, living on a fixed retirement income, suddenly has to cover hundreds of dollars in monthly payments. She can't afford her medications. She can't heat her home properly in winter. But the loan payments keep coming. Or consider the father who puts his house up as collateral for his son's restaurant. The restaurant industry is brutal. Over 60% of restaurants fail within the first 3 years. When the restaurant closes, the father doesn't just lose his investment. He loses his home. The place where he raised his family. The equity he built over 30 years of mortgage payments. Gone. Now, you might be thinking that these are worst-case scenarios. That your child is different. That your child is responsible and would never let you down. And maybe you're right. Maybe your child has every intention of paying back that loan or making that business succeed. But intentions don't pay bills. The economy doesn't care about intentions. A global pandemic doesn't care about intentions. A sudden illness doesn't care about intentions. Life happens, and when it does, good intentions evaporate under the weight of financial reality. So what's the alternative? How do you help your child without destroying your own financial security? The answer is simple but requires a fundamental shift in how we think about helping our children. You help them by teaching them to stand on their own 2 feet. If your child needs a loan, they should qualify for it on their own merit. If they can't qualify, that's the market telling them something important. It's telling them they're not ready. They don't have the credit history, the income, or the business plan to justify the risk. And if professional lenders won't take that risk, why should you? This doesn't mean you can't support your children financially. But support looks different from guarantee. Support might mean giving them a small amount of money you can afford to lose. Not lending. Giving. Money you've already written off mentally. If they pay it back, great. If they don't, it doesn't impact your retirement or your ability to pay your own bills. Support might mean helping them create a realistic budget. Teaching them about credit. Showing them how to build their financial foundation slowly and sustainably. These lessons are worth more than any loan guarantee because they last a lifetime. Let me tell you about a different kind of parent. A mother who refused to co-sign her son's car loan. The son was angry. He felt betrayed. He accused her of not believing in him. But she held firm. She told him that if he wanted the car, he needed to save up for a down payment and build his credit score to qualify on his own. It took him 2 years. 2 years of saving, of building credit, of proving to lenders that he was a good risk. And when he finally got that car, something magical happened. He valued it differently. He maintained it better. He never missed a payment because he knew that car represented his own hard work and discipline. More importantly, he learned a lesson that will serve him for the rest of his life. He learned that he's capable of achieving his goals without someone else taking the risk for him. He learned self-reliance. And 20 years later, he thanks his mother for that gift. That's what saying no really is. It's a gift. It's the gift of allowing your children to build their own strength, their own credit, their own financial identity. When you guarantee their debts, you rob them of that opportunity. You tell them, subtly but powerfully, that you don't think they can do it on their own. And what message does that send? It sends the message that they need you to succeed. That they're not capable of standing on their own merit. That's not love. That's crippling them. Consider the psychological impact on your child when things go wrong. Imagine your daughter's business fails, and she knows that her failure cost you your home. How does she live with that guilt? How does that affect your relationship? What seemed like an act of love becomes a source of lifelong pain and resentment. I've counseled families torn apart by financial guarantees gone wrong. Adult children who can't look their parents in the eye because they feel responsible for their parents' poverty. Parents who resent their children but can't admit it because they were the ones who signed the papers. These wounds run deep and rarely heal. There's also the issue of fairness to your other children. If you have multiple kids, guaranteeing one child's debt creates inequality. What about your other children who didn't ask for guarantees? What about the responsible child who worked hard, saved money, and didn't ask you to risk everything? How do you explain to them that their inheritance is gone because their sibling's business failed? And let's talk about your own future. You've worked your entire life. You've saved. You've planned. You deserve to retire with dignity and security. You deserve to not worry about money in your final years. When you guarantee your child's debt, you're gambling with that security. You're betting your golden years on an uncertain outcome. The statistics are sobering. According to financial experts, Parents who cosign loans for their children end up paying at least part of the debt in over 38% of cases. That's not a small risk. That's more than 1 in 3. Would you take any other bet with those odds using your life savings? So how do you actually say no? How do you have this conversation without destroying your relationship with your child? It starts with honesty and clarity. You explain that you love them, that you believe in them, but that you also have a responsibility to your own financial security. You can say something like this: I love you, and I want you to succeed. But I can't put my financial security at risk. If I guarantee this loan and something goes wrong, I could lose everything I've worked for. That wouldn't be good for either of us. Instead, let's work together to find a way for you to qualify for this on your own. You might face anger. You might face accusations. Your child might say you don't love them or don't believe in them. Stand firm. This is a boundary that protects both of you. Boundaries aren't walls. They're foundations for healthy relationships. Remember, the goal isn't to punish your child or to withhold help. The goal is to help them in a way that builds their strength rather than creating dependence. The goal is to protect your relationship by not putting it under the strain of financial obligation. There's one more crucial point to consider. What happens if you do guarantee the debt and your child succeeds? You might think that's a happy ending. But even in success, you've set a dangerous precedent. You've taught your child that when things get tough, someone else will take the risk. What happens next time? And the time after that? Success built on someone else's guarantee is hollow. It doesn't build character or resilience. It builds dependence. And dependence, even in success, is a prison. The hidden blessing in saying no is this: you give your children the opportunity to discover their own strength. You give them the chance to build something that's truly theirs. You preserve your relationship by keeping it free from the poison of financial obligation. And you protect your own future so that you can be there for your children in ways that actually matter. Because here's the truth. Your children don't need you to guarantee their loans. They need you to be financially stable so you're not a burden to them later. They need you to model healthy financial boundaries. They need you to believe in their ability to succeed on their own merit. Saying no is hard. It goes against every parental instinct we have. But sometimes, the hardest thing to do is also the most loving thing to do. Sometimes, the greatest gift we can give our children is the gift of learning to stand on their own 2 feet. And sometimes, protecting them means protecting ourselves first. So the next time your child asks you to guarantee a loan, to cosign a debt, to put your assets on the line for their dreams, remember this. You can love them completely and still say no. You can support them fully and still protect yourself. And you can be the best parent possible by teaching them that real success comes from their own effort, their own credit, and their own strength. That's not just good financial advice. That's wisdom that will serve them for the rest of their lives.